We are going to be kicking off this particular ZVP here on inside and out. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Taiwan. At the time, representing On-Site Gaming, OSG, but currently a free... I don't know how free of an agent he is right now, but he is Rex.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have his opponent, the American Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Astrea.
Not to be confused with Straya.
yes. Astrea is very different. Very different.
I would love to see that though. Max Angel Adventures in Astrea.
His adventures in Astrea. I would like to believe that he would still have his like investigative like trench coat.
Yep.
But he's wearing like thongs or like quote unquote flip flops. Yeah,
he's like he's out who want to wear.
Yeah. And he's at like Bondi, you know.
Yeah. In 30 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be amazing.
He'd be like, Santa Claus. Why is he out in summer?
By the end of the episode, he's like passed out because of heat stroke. Like he's he's not doing too well.
Oh, I was gonna say by the end of the episode, he's got like a koala clinging on him. Oh god.
But yeah, Astrea, he not having the best of times in the previous PvP, but I also want to emphasize that PvP is one of the more chaotic matchups, and again, like, just because of the way that it went, like, I don't blame him too much. Like, I don't... More than anything, I hope that Astrea was able to retain his mental, retain his brain.
Yeah, which is always a tough ask when you're going up against a player like Skillus, but, you know, there were a couple of minutes between that match and this match that, you know, hopefully Astrea was able to recover a little bit. It doesn't take much for him. I'll say that much.
Yeah, these are professionals, and it usually takes a certain kind of player to, like, you know, be a little bit more emotionally affected by losses. It also depends on the loss as well. Like, I'm sure Astrea was frustrated by a series against Skillus, but, you know, you got to shake it off. You're in a group stage. You got, like, 8 more matches ahead of you. You know, you can pull it all together and continue, and, yeah, I do think that Astrea is definitely one of those that can pull that off.
Yeah, one of the best. But we'll see what he has planned in store for us in this PvZ. Astrea, like we saw in his PvP against Skillus, you know, he's not afraid to switch things up every now and then, but for the most part, he does just play to the meta, at least in the early stages of a best-of series. And he wants to suss out his opponent.
Yeah, you know, he's just poking and prodding with his initial adept. We did have a Stargate opener into an Oracle from Astrea, so everything is looking quite normal and quite standard. We should be seeing a second Oracle from here. We should be seeing a third Nexus, but from that point, we can diverge into different paths, into different directions for both of our players.
Yeah, and we'll see what that entails. I'm thinking... That's the end of my statement. I'm thinking.
Oh. Okay.
By declaration. No, I mean, we saw Rex go for Lingbane Hydra quite a bit against Nina. It does look like he, you know, wants to stay in Hive Tech for at least a little while, but I don't know. That males, yeah, well, I think it will be pretty similar going into this series from Rex.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. I mean, we already see it. Rex, he's going for an Evo Chamber, should be for +1. Melee should be for Lingbane into Hydras. Astrea is playing a lot more standard. Or at least I was critiquing Nina a little bit in the previous series about how it took her a while to get into Forge and then to get into upgrades for her Blink Stalkers, but that's exactly what Astrea is already working towards.
Indeed it is. Looks to be a little bit of a crisper timing coming up from Astrea if he does decide to apply that early game pressure.
Yeah, and I'm really curious if this is going to be Blink or Charge, because Charge has been kind of coming up in popularity recently. Before that happens, we do see 2 Adepts shading in towards the third base of Rex. Ooh, in combination with the Oracles, already 6 drones are going to be going down.
Yeah, these are some really good pickoffs here for Astrea. 8 drones, 9 drones, almost getting a 10. This definitely puts a lot of a halt to the economic momentum of Rex. Right now, he would love to be building Zerglings, but instead he's forced to remake all these drones.
Yeah, exactly. 5 more drones on the way to try and replenish what he has lost. Astrea taking a very nice, very heavy worker lead already. We do see Rex trying to go for a bit of a counterattack, but the wall is a wall. We do have a secondary pylon behind this Adept, and the Adept itself is going to survive.
Yeah, very nice move here to just time the shade to finish up before the pylon finishes up over there. And now that we have a couple more warp-ins, Astrea doesn't have much more to worry about. This is a little bit interesting from Astrea, though. He's going for Archon drops.
Yeah, like Charged Archon, this is more of what we expect to see in current meta. This is why I was pleasantly surprised when Nina went for Blink, because that Blink style has kind of fallen out of favor recently, in recent months. So we can see that Astrea, you know, he is keeping up with the trends. He is going into those Archons, into those charge lots. Again, it is definitely a style that can overwhelm, especially if the Zerg player doesn't see it coming.
Which Rex so far hasn't. I mean, he's still getting a lot of queens and a lot of spore crawls regardless, just because he knows that he needs to play things out a little bit safer. But yeah, the queens are a little bit spread out. Rex of Astrea, sorry, should be able to get at least one of them.
Oh yeah, we do have a couple of stasis traps being thrown down and a warp in of a Zealots. Astrea is a little bit supply blocked. He needs some pylons sooner rather than later, otherwise he can't really support these Archons. He's dishing out a decent amount of damage so far, but he can't really break his opponent. Still no pylons, by the way.
He aren't, yeah. Now there's one being thrown down. Yeah, love to see it, and yeah, a couple of his units did go down as well, so it frees up a little bit of supply here. These Archons, I mean, they're still standing strong, and all of the queens, most of the queens have gone down.
Yeah, Rex is being pulled apart here. He's really struggling to defend his threat in his main base. He does get a nice round on the Immortal towards the south. He will get a kill there, but it looks like the Archons and Zealots are breaking into the main base. Sorry, as you said, every queen went down.
You don't see it too often, but yeah, the Immortal was just a distraction. Damage is all... The damage is all about these Archons and these Zealots. And eventually, I think Rex is going to be able to clean this up, but I just love every move Astrea is doing right now. Even juggling with the Warp Prism just to keep the Archons alive a little bit longer. He gets a little bit of drone damage, which is always really good, but the main thing that he's gotten here is killing those queens and just shaving off so much of the Zerg army.
I mean, that was just so efficient from Astrea. Even now, he's hunting down all these drones at the third base. But he only traded Zealots and that one Immortal, to be fair. But that was a very efficient trade from Astrea. His Archons are still alive. He's still going back into the main base. At the same time, Rex is forced to counterattack. He is straight up behind. Look at the worker count. Look at the base count as well. Rex is really struggling to stay afloat, to tread water. And this Ling Roach push has to deal damage.
And I don't think it will. A Disruptor just finish up here for Astrea to get such a juicy connection. Rex gambling a little bit, thinking he could take out the Disruptor before the Purification Nova hit, and maybe he could have, but not this time.
That Nova was insane, and now with the reinforcing Zealots, every single one of these roaches is going to be cleaned up. Meanwhile, across the map, the lair is being focused down. One more shot, and that's all it takes. GG gets called.
And Astrea just contributing to Rex's very bad day here in ZVP.
Oh my god. I mean, even with Astrea being supply blocked for a minute or so, maybe even longer than that, Rex was really struggling to hold on. His roaches were popping a little bit late. It wasn't split up the way that he wanted, and unfortunately, he didn't really have any Banelings to support himself. Those Zealots from Astrea were just trading so well against the Ling Roach.
They absolutely were. If you're going for the Zealot Archon like this, you don't necessarily need the Zealots to do much other than just buffer for your Archons. as long as, they're drawing fire away from them, it would already be successful. But the way Astrea went about it, he made use of every single unit he was getting, even the Immortal that got picked off before really doing that much damage. It drew so many roaches away from the main base and really just allowed Astrea to kill all those queens, get a couple of tech units, and even towards the end of that game, keep that pressure going, because he didn't lose his Warp Prism. He didn't lose his Warp Prism or his Archons.
Yeah, oh god. But yeah, because the queens fell early on in the fight, like there was just nothing to contest that prism, and Astrea had kind of free reign of all the bases because of it. We saw how insane his control, how insane his micro was, keeping those Archons alive. So very impressive play, very well done by Astrea, and we'll see how things end as we are getting into game number 2. This time, we are diving under the sea.
Oh, wait, hold on. I blew it into the...
Did you get into inside and out again?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, cool.
No. Just give me 30 seconds.
God damn
All right,
it.
yes.
What?
All right.
There's 1 and 2. You told me that you were okay counting up to 2, Papi. God damn it. You're like, after this, I need to cast just the best of 1 tournament. Okay, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Okay, here we are in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. Here we are now on data under the sea. We're over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Taiwan. Really a pillar of the... or one of the triumvirate of Taiwan, but not having a great time here with all of these ZVPs he's had to face, these NA ZVPs. At the time representing On-Site Gaming, OSG, but currently a free agent, he is Rex.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have his opponent, the American Protoss player, currently leading this series 1-0. Representing Alpha X, it is Astrea.
Yep.
Oh boy, here. What's up, Yaku? What's up?
And well, my eyes are more on Rex here in this particular game. I really do think that it's on him to really try to, I don't know, maybe try something a little bit different here, because everything he's done so far in the matchup has not worked out.
Rex is giga paranoid. I don't know if you noticed the natural base of Rex, but his drone has been patrolling here from the beginning. Like, he is so worried about being cannon rushed, and to be fair, Astrea is the kind of player to mess around with cannon rushes every now and then, but little things like this, it is a little bit inefficient. It is clear, like, it is, Rex maybe getting into his own mind a little bit, and yeah, it's just kind of interesting because it's something that you don't see too often, because even though Astrea is one to mix things up and potentially cannon rush, it's just not a very common thing at all, especially at the highest level. Yeah.
And especially on Data C, I mean, we haven't seen as many cannon rushes on this map compared to, say, not Cosmic Sapphire.
I would say
some of the other maps is what I would say.
Yeah, Inside and Out I think is a little bit more friendly to cannon rushes, but yeah, we don't see them often enough anymore. And Rex, is going to be able to eventually force us back. At least he was able to take his natural.
Wasn't forced into a bit of an unnatural position, and now he is working on getting a third base as well. Still keeping his eye on the tech of his opponent right now. He wants to know exactly how greedy he can get away with, or he can get be. But how greedy he can be.
We are all here to find out. Meanwhile, Astrea, everything is normal. We have a Stargate opener coming out from Astrea. We should be seeing an Oracle first. There we go. He's not the kind of player to mix things up with a Void Ray first or a Phoenix first, like we have seen in days past. I think Skillus, we were able to cast him a couple of days ago, and he was kind of fond of going Void Ray first, which was interesting to see mixed in, but Astrea, he isn't touching that.
Yeah, not for the time being. He's pretty confident against Rex, so yeah, he knows he can beat him with his mechanics. He doesn't need to switch from the meta too hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Nothing to switch here, as outside of that, we just see even the first Oracle of Astrea staying at home a little bit longer, so he's just being a little bit safer. We have the second Oracle on the way. Rex, he just be droning from here. And we'll see where Rex goes, because he has been having some issues with ZVP today. he's been having a bit of a hard time, and I wonder how that's going to culminate here. He's being very safe. We have spores on the way. His queens are getting into position. But is he going to stick with this kind of +1 Ling Bane style, or is he going to switch? He was trying to switch into roaches in game 1.
Yeah. Diversifying his play quite a bit. I mean, going for something a little bit more standard in game number 1 against Astrea, but as we saw, it didn't pay off for him. He was just distracted a little bit too hard in his bases, and his army was split up a little bit too much as well. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll see how he can pull it all together here in game number 2. For the time being, again, just really heavily focusing on the droning, which I really do appreciate. We have seen, especially against Nina, Rex go for these like massive Ling floods, just like see what he can get done, and it kind of puts himself behind whenever he does that. So yeah, it's really nice to see him be a little bit lighter on the Lings, and he goes for a bit of a run by, and even here with a handful of Lings, he's able to get a kill on an Adept and even a couple of probes.
Yeah, only one Zeld over here to defend. The Oracles are pretty far in the other side of the map. Finally, they're gonna be home to defend this, but not before Rex cleans out yet another Zealot and tries to go for a bit of a scout. Doesn't quite get it, but still, 4 probes. It's not that far behind anymore.
Yeah, Astrea is punished for only opening up with 2 Oracles, not 3 like we saw Nina go for, which is a bit of a safer way to play. I'm sure this game, Rex is like, God damn, why didn't I Link Flood? I'm sure this time he's like, if only I'd done it this game, then I would have been able to punish Astrea a little bit more. So not too bad of damage being dealt so far from Rex, as he's transitioning, as he's taking up, just now finishing up his lair.
Yeah, Roach Warren finished up a while ago as well, so there we go. Galila Reconstitution gets started pretty much immediately. Rex once again going for more of a Roach Ravager style, which is pretty good against Archons.
Yeah, you know, it isn't too bad. Meanwhile, those Archons are on the way across the map. This is very similar to the previous game, by the way. We have Charge behind this. A third base is going to be on the way. And for the time being, Astrea, he's just picking off whatever Overlords he can. He's warping in a couple of Zealots. Rex, is he going to have enough to defend here at his third?
He sent all of his queens into his main base, but he does have a sizable Roach count here. Maybe Astrea can take this if he juggles, but he's not feeling too confident in that. Rex is able to push this away.
Yeah, he defends his third base. At the same time, we've got a couple of Oracles slipping into his main. An Infestation Pit is on the way. Yo, Rex is going to try and go full suit here. Is he going to go for Swarm Host Nidus?
Well, we already have the Nidus. Show me the Swarm Host.
We will see. There we go. There we go. Swarm hosts are on the way. At the same time, the Prism in the main base goes down. Nice target firing there by Rex. He won't have to worry about any more harassment in his main base other than those Oracles, and the likelihood of this Nidus being scouted is that much lower.
It absolutely is. I'm looking at the vision of Rex right now. He's got 1 Overlord above the natural and the third base, 1 Overseer in the main base. Not too many in the sort of 4th base locations, which is normally where you see a Nidus for Swarm Host, but still. This can do quite a ton.
And this is huge. The Oracles dip in to get some drone damage, and they see the Swarm Host. They also see the Nidus as well. So now Astrea has all the information he needs. Can he split up his army, though? There we go. The first Nidus is going to be on the way. But Astrea, he somehow comes across it.
Yeah, well, he saw the movement of the Overseer going across the main base, and once he saw the Swarm Hosts over at home for Rex, he kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, now this Nidus is going to be going down. Oh, the problem is that when you go for Swarm Hosts like this, it's all about the surprise factor. It's all about the first wave. And for this to be so delayed, Astrea, he's getting more and more time to make more army and to get his defenses up and running. He's got more cannons and shield batteries on the way.
Interesting. So Rex is setting up a Nidus towards the western part of the map, but he's actually just pushing out with his Swarm Hosts the old-fashioned way. He's just setting up a couple of networks to maneuver around.
Yeah, but this was a really early Locust wave. The Nova's going to be going off as well. Does connect with those Ravagers. The Overcharge is going to be keeping all the Protoss units alive, and Astrea, he can take this.
Yeah, those are a couple of pretty decent pickups here for Rex. Thankfully, he does have a Nidus here to retreat if need be. He doesn't use it just yet. And yeah, that was definitely a very early Locust wave, like you said. Like, Rex kind of got eyes on the army and thought, if I fight right here, right now with my Locust, I can win the engagement. But Astrea just didn't give him that fight that he wanted. Oh, those were 2 extremely juicy Purification Novas. The Locusts were able to pop out, and they're going to chase this Protoss army back, but once they run out, I mean, Rex doesn't have much of an army.
Exactly. As you were saying, I mean, at least the Disruptors went down, but Rex just doesn't have enough to really stick around any longer. I think it's a mistake for his Ravagers to stay as long as they did, and now they're going to be focused on one after another. The Nidus is going to fall as well. At the same time, Astrea goes for a Zealot run by. It's not going to do too much damage, but it does pull back the reinforcements of Rex.
Yeah, distracts the Roach Force a little bit, and now Astrea as well has eyes on the second army and which location to go into. This is going to be the second wave of army and the third wave of Locusts. And as we always say, like, the first wave is the scariest.
It really is, but we'll see if he can get some damage done. But there are cannons here. There are Novas that are gonna... Oh my god! Astrea trying to track those Locusts with the Nova on the ground. Regardless, he's gonna be able to clean all of this up. Rex is rotating up towards the north, but he gets caught by stasis traps.
Yeah, and that's a fairly significant amount of roaches that are just not gonna be in the fight. Another Nidus pops behind the natural base, but Astrea was very, very quick to react to it. Even takes out the old Lord over there. Rex has been fighting with everything he's got, but hasn't been able to put even a single dent in the armor of Astrea.
He hasn't done any economic damage at all, and you can see that it's something that you rarely see it in this matchup. But Astrea is up 20 workers compared to Rex. Rex is so all in with this. These Nidus and these Swarm Hosts just haven't paid for themselves.
They really haven't, and I was really hoping they would. This is such a risk reward, high risk, high reward style of ZVP coming out from Rex, and when it does work, man, is it satisfying to watch and to pull off. But more often than not, it doesn't. And we're in a situation much like this.
Yeah, we have seen players like Ragnarok and players like Su utilize this to great effect. Even Dark was playing with Swarm Host over the weekend. I know you weren't able to cast ESL Asia, but yeah, Dark was using it against Hero. It was great to see.
I wonder I had a nightmare.
There you go. But this army of Rex is being cornered in here. There is no way out. He completely gets swallowed up.
And just like that, Astrea presses his advantage, and I don't think the reinforcements Rex is scrambling to get right now are going to be out in time. Hydroden's about to finish up, but I don't think he's going to be able to make even a single Hydra this game.
Yeah, he doesn't have the money for it. Rex is broke right now. He barely had any workers to begin with, and now Astrea, he's rushing across the map. More Novas are going to be connecting with the Roach army of Rex. The Swarm Hosts still don't have a Locust wave, and without it, there is no way for Rex to hold.
Absolutely none. And even with the Locust wave, I think they're just going to die to the Archons before they really connect to anything.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. The last hurrah, the final Locust wave is going to be going off here, and Astrea is respecting it, but it's not... We're not even going to see it land!
Oh, feels bad, man. But
Ugh.
GG, very, very well played here for Astrea, pulling off a very tricky style in game number 1, and then deflecting a tricky style done to him in game number 2, takes that series 2-0. GG.
GG, well played. Astrea playing so well there throughout the series. Rex trying something a little bit cheeky in game number 2, and I appreciate it. The problem is that typically if we're going to go swarm host like that, one, ideally it's unscouted, so you catch your opponent by surprise and you catch him off guard. Two, usually that's something that you do when you're a little bit ahead. By that I mean that you have map control and there's a reason for the Protoss player to be staying at home, because otherwise it just triggers a counterattack, and otherwise you yourself find yourself on the back foot. Yeah, things just didn't really come together there for Rex in the end.
No, fortunately not, but went really well here for Astrea, able to redeem himself very, 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 very convincingly after a series against Skillus. Definitely still a shot for him to make it to the playoffs.
Definitely, and really solid performance there from our American Protoss player. And with that, we have finished up our 3rd series of the night. We have just exceeded the halfway point, and we have more StarCraft ahead of us. But before that happens, mate, we got some duct tapes.
Yeah. We got a new... No, it's not
No.
But it's one that we haven't seen in a while coming out here today. Your definition of a while may vary. But yeah, we're going to be seeing that so that once again, we can show some love to our lovely editor, Vortex Lamb.
Oh, he's amazing. He is beautiful. So everyone take this moment to get some water, stretch, go to the bathroom, get some snacks, and get ready for our final 2 series, because the Terrans are coming out. After the break, we're going to be coming back with Cure, Nina, Kelazur, and Rex.
Terran players!
See you soon.